There are some things that just bring us back to a better time. Whether it's having your favorite tacos for dinner or hopping on for a couple of rounds with the boys, or, pretty much just anything that happened before January 1st, 2020. But even better than all those things is when we get to see a car in the wild out bombing around that brings us back to when we first started getting into cars. What is going on, everyone? I'm Gels from Fitment Industries, and today we are going to just take some time to sit back and relax and talk about some of the cars that had a strong influence on us becoming car enthusiasts. Before we go ahead and get into today's video, just a quick reminder, if you haven't subscribed already, please take a quick second and do so. It helps us out a ton. And check out the giveaway we got going on right now with ROTIFORM Wheels. We've partnered with ROTIFORM to give away a set of free wheels to one of you guys. All you gotta do is head on over to fitmentindustries.com, pick up this awesome gray t-shirt. We got a white version of this t-shirt. We also got a bucket hat as well that's absolutely killer. You can check it out at fitmentindustries.com or find the link down in the description and go ahead and check it out. Anyway, if there's one car that really kick-started my interest in cars way back in the day, it would have been the second generation of the Mitsubishi Eclipse. The Eclipse will always be a classic car, and as the years go on, unfortunately, there just seems to be less and less of them around, which is kind of pretty sad. When the second generation of the Mitsubishi Chrysler collaboration came around in 1995, it was a pretty big deal. With trims such as the GSX and the Talon TSI featuring the good old 4G63T, an all-wheel drive system, the Eclipse was a pretty sought-after sports coupe. The Eclipse saw a much-needed facelift in 1997 and introduced what we know now as the 2GB Eclipse. It was all over the magazines, made appearances in movies such as The Fast and Furious. It was even in the intro scene for Need for Speed Underground every time you load up the game. You know which one I'm talking about, the purple one with the crazy blue vinyl, all that sort of stuff. And by the time people like you and me were old enough to drive, they could be snagged up for relatively pretty cheap. The 2G Eclipse is an iconic car, and unfortunately we have been left with a bad taste in our mouth because of what they've done with the car in the last two generations. And not to mention, they revived the Eclipse name but made it a crossover SUV thing. We're not gonna get into it. Arguably one of the most iconic JDM cars of all time, the one that nearly everyone fanboys over when they see one in public, the Nissan Skyline R34 GTR. It's really kind of hard to explain why the GTR is such an influential car because everyone just kind of already gets it, they just get it. Nissan did everything right with the R34, but what I really think made it such an icon and a dream vehicle for most car enthusiasts around the world around the age of 25 is that we were never able to get our hands on it here in the States. We've had to wait and wait and wait for them to become legal for import, pretty much leaving the suspense of actually getting to see one to be quelled by the movies, by video games, and then maybe somehow, you go to a car show and just one random one would appear and then you're standing there like, how the hell is this actually here? I just don't understand. I mean, it's really no surprise that the R34 is among one of the top cars that younger enthusiasts bring up when they are talking about some of their favorite cars, because when we were growing up, it was such an influential car in the scene, and if there was a car equivalent of the girl that was way out of your league, it'd be the R34. Real quick, I want you to think of a classic muscle car. What did you picture? If it was a first-gen Camaro, you owe me some tacos and a beer, because for some reason, everyone just loves these cars. I mean, it's not just some random reason. They are fantastic cars, don't get me wrong. However, growing up, I personally remember that having a first-generation Camaro was pretty much the goal for a lot of classic car enthusiasts and classic car collectors. Going to car shows and the drag strip, they would be littered everywhere. And they sounded great. They looked fantastic, and they were usually fast as and they just resonated with a ton of people. Now, the same can be said for a lot of classic muscle cars. Honestly, it was a tough one to choose between the first-gen Camaro and the second-generation Mustang, just because they are so iconic in their own way. But the same thing runs true for most of these classic muscle cars, and that is when we were growing up, these were the cars that our parents and our grandparents were in love with. And even though we may never own one or have thought about actually owning one, you can't say that you haven't taken the time to appreciate one or broke your neck once or twice when it's driving down the street. Even though the JDM cars were the hot thing in the early 2000s, there were some other cars that were making waves as well. And today they are remembered as some of the best generation of the Volkswagen cars, and that is the Mark IV Volkswagens. And we're just gonna kind of group them all up together here because, they all deserve some recognition. Between the GTIs, the Jettas, the R32s, the Mark IVs were just classic, and they will always hit home with a ton of enthusiasts. Whether it's the 1.8T or the VR6, you can always enjoy a Mark IV Volkswagen. They really opened up the Euro tuning scene in the early 2000s, and the GTIs became an all-time favorite hatchback. The Jettas with their boxy styling still look good to this day, and they look absolutely amazing when they're done right. And they just, you know, they're just all around just good cars. Ask anyone who currently owns a Mark IV, and odds are that they probably owned multiple before that, or currently do own multiple. The cars themselves were able to be picked up pretty cheap, and for those who are looking to get into their first car to modify, they could easily find themselves behind the wheel of a Mark IV. Meaning that these were the cars that introduced them to the car scene. They got them working on the cars because they needed to be worked on like all the time. And they truly do hold a special place for a lot of enthusiasts. There's another car that has a similar reputation, and when they came to the United States right around the same time. However, instead of a small European hatchback, it was a slightly larger Japanese sedan, and that was the Bug-Eye WRX. Now, the Bug-Eye WRX is just one of those cars that will forever be remembered as, unfortunately, like the teenager's car, because like that was the car that we all wanted to go pick up when we got our license. Like, it was a turbocharged all-wheel drive car that you could pass off to your parents because like, oh, it's you know, usable because it's 4 doors and it's not a sports car. It's, you know what you were doing. But the WRX was that entry-level car that had the tuning capability. It had the aftermarket support. It had the ability to, yes, be, you know, insured for less than a lot of other vehicles out there. And with the Bug-Eye being the first WRX available in the United States, it's just become kind of a classic. It was like the first one for people to really kind of hold on to. Now, today we've seen generations after generations of WRX and STIs coming out, and maybe so much the Bug-Eye isn't so like the go-to generation anymore. Maybe it is the Blob-Eye or the Hawkeye, but the same thing rings through. It's a Subaru WRX, and a lot of younger enthusiasts look at that car as the perfect car to get into, and that's why it holds such a nostalgic factor when it comes down to some of our first cars that got us into the car scene. So go ahead and let us know down in the comment section below what the first car that got you in to like everything, like what was that car? Maybe it was on the list, maybe it wasn't. Let us know down in the comment section below. But of course, don't forget to check out the giveaway we got going on right now with ROTIFORM Wheels. Get entered in to win a free set of wheels. I mean, it's all that easy. You just pick up some dope apparel, get entered in to win. Other than that, wheels, tires, suspension, fitmentindustries.com. I'm Gels. We'll see you later. Peace.